morning, students. Am I audible? Hello. Good morning, students. Am I audible? Can anybody reply? Hello. Am I audible? Can anybody reply? Okay. Who will tell in the last lecture what we had studied? Yes. Anybody? Can anybody tell what we studied in the last lecture? What topic we have studied in the last lecture? Yes. Are you hearing me?
Demand.
Okay, demand. What we have seen in the demand? I think we had seen this, na? Law of demand. In last lecture, we had studied about the law of demand. Means what is the relationship between price of the units and quantity demand of the quantity. So we have seen that there is inverse relationship between price of the demand and price and the quantity demanded. Means what? If there is an increase in price, the demand decreases, and if there is the decrease in price, demand increases. Getting this? So this law of demand was told by the great economist, name is the Marshall. Okay. Then we had seen some of the assumptions in the law of demand. So law of demand, whenever we are going to study the law of demand, at that time we have to assume certain assumptions, and then for these assumptions, law of demand may be satisfied or fulfilled. Okay. Then we had seen some of the exceptional to the law of demand. Means what? There is no inverse relationship between law of demand in certain cases. So one we had studied about Giffen paradox, in which Giffen compared superior goods and the inferior goods. If the price of uh, inferior goods decreases, then consumer can shift towards the superior goods. So the graph we will take we will see the graph like this of certain goods. Then we had seen about the Veblen demonstration effect or Veblen effect, in which what is going to happen if the prices decreases of certain products, at that time rich people stops buying because they wanted to show the prestige through the product. They are purchasing such kind of product. If prices down, that time demand will not increase, demand will again decrease. Then we had seen about the ignorance. Some of the times people may ignore the prices and prices of some of the products which are very superior. If there is the increase in uh, prices, at that time, due to increase in prices, people start buying because they feel that there is something addition in the product. There must have something added value addition in the product. That's why prices has been increased. Then speculative. अगर हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि फ्यूचर में प्राइसेस बढ़ जाएंगी, इसलिए हम लोग अगर प्राइस बढ़ने के बाद हम लोग ज्यादा परचेस भी करते हैं. गेटिंग दिस ड्यू टू द फ्यूचर स्पेकुलेशन, fear of future speculation. The next is the fear of shortage. इसका मतलब क्या है? There should be sudden incidences may occur, due to which we will not get the product. That's why right now due to this fear, right now we will purchase more and more products, so price is increasing. That is, these are the exceptions to the law of demand we had seen in the last lecture. Then determinants of demand also we had seen in the last lecture. Then why need to study the law of demand and demand, that also we had studied in the last lecture. Now let us discuss about the elasticity of demand. Elasticity means what? It is the performance of demand with respect to price, or it is trend of the demand, uh, trend of the total quantities to be demanded with respect to price. Means what? Whether it is towards having inverse relation or having positive relation, whether it is having unit relation or elastic or inelastic demand. So according to Marshall, elasticity of demand explains the relationship between change in the price of the product and consequent change in the amount demanded, यानी क्वांटिटी टू बी डिमांडेड, यानी प्राइस के रिलेशन में डिमांड क्वांटिटी का क्या रिलेशन है? प्राइस इंक्रीज हो गया तो क्वांटिटी बढ़ रही है, लेकिन कितने प्रोपोर्शन में बढ़ रही है? गेटिंग दिस? एंड प्राइस डिक्रीज हो गया तो क्वांटिटी कम हो रही है, तो कितने प्रोपोर्शन से कम हो रहे हैं? दैट शोज द इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ द डिमांड, हाउ योर डिमांड इज इलास्टिक विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू price. That is, we have to study under elasticity of demand, whether your demand is elastic or inelastic. Now elastic demand means what? Small change, just read once again, the small change in price may lead to the great change in the quantity demanded. इसका मतलब प्राइस 1 रुपया से कम किया तो मेरा डिमांड में वेरिएशंस 1000 में या लैक्स में आ रहे हैं, और 100 में या कुछ ज्यादा क्वांटिटी में आ रहा है. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इलास्टिक चेंज. इलास्टिक डिमांड मींस व्हाट? योर डिमांड इज इलास्टिक means what? If there is small fluctuations in the price, it shows more fluctuations in the demand or quantity demanded. That is something about elastic demand. Now next is the inelastic demand. Inelastic demand means what? Your demand is not fluctuating with respect to price. हम लोगों ने देखा है लास्ट लेक्चर में कि कौन से फैक्टर से डिमांड क्या होता है? वेरी होता है, वेरी होता है. यहाँ पे इनएलिस्टिक डिमांड में क्या होता है? इफ वी मेक ह्यूज चेंजेस इन द प्राइसेस but there is no large change in the quantity to be demanded. If a big change in the price is followed by the small change or very little bit change in the quantity demanded, then the demand is called as inelastic demand. Means what? As per the changes as per the fluctuations in the price, your demand is not changing. That is something about inelastic demand. Okay. Now, under elasticity of demand, there are some categories of the elasticity. One is the price elasticity. इसका मतलब क्या है? प्राइस चेंज करने से डिमांड चेंज हो. इट में इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्राइस. सेकेंड, लोगों का इनकम चेंज होने से भी क्या होता है? डिमांड चेंज होता है. एक तो कंपनी ने प्राइस चेंज किया तो दैट प्राइस कैन अफेक्ट ऑन द elasticity of the demand. Second, the people or the consumers income is going to vary. Accordingly, what is going to happen? Then there will be the increase as well as decrease in the elasticity. Then cross elasticity. Cross elasticity यानी क्या है कि एक प्रोडक्ट का प्राइसेस कम ज्यादा करने से दूसरे प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड अपोजिट प्रोडक्ट का, कॉम्पिटिटर्स प्रोडक्ट का, तो कुछ अदर प्रोडक्ट्स का क्या हो जाएगा? डिमांड कम ज्यादा हो जाएगा. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी. एक का डिमांड प्राइस कम करने से दूसरे का डिमांड बढ़ेगा. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी. And advertisement elasticity is the way in which we are going to study the price income. In the same way, advertisement, impact of advertisement on the demand, quantity of demand. These are the basic types of elasticity of demand. Now for your syllabus you have only first two elasticity. You don't have cross elasticity and advertisement elasticity. For your syllabus we have to study about price elasticity demand and income elasticity demand. Price elasticity is nothing but increase in the prices of the product. Demand of the product can increase or decrease. Now, making the fluctuations in the price, who can make the fluctuations in the price? You tell me. Who can make the fluctuations in the price? कौन कर सकता है? किसके हाथ में है ये? Yes. प्राइसेस कौन चेंज करता है? वेदर कंज्यूमर और वेदर कस्टमर, किसके हाथ है प्राइस चेंज करना? आर यू लिसनिंग मी? Or you are just connected?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Or you are just connected there? प्राइस कौन चेंज करता है? कौन चेंज कर सकता है प्राइस?
कंज्यूमर।
कंज्यूमर कैसे चेंज कर सकता है? कंज्यूमर कैन रिस्पॉन्स टू द प्राइस ना। कंपनी डिसाइड करेगी ना कौन सा प्रोडक्ट कितने को बेचना है, कौन डिसाइड करेगी? कंपनी कैन डिसाइड विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू फीडबैक और विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू एक्सपीरियंस। तो प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी में प्राइस चेंज करना किसके हाथ में है? कंपनी के हाथ में है। कंपनी विल डिसाइड कि कितना प्राइसेस बढ़ाना है, कितना कम करना है एट विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू योर प्रॉफिट ऑब्जेक्टिव। गेटिंग दिस? अभी कंपनी ने अगर प्राइस चेंज कर दी तो उसके हिसाब से कम एक्चुअल प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड का परफॉर्मेंस क्या है, that we can study with the help of price elasticity demand. Now second is the income elasticity demand. Under income elasticity demand किसका इनकम देखना है? कंज्यूमर का इनकम देखना है। Getting this? So whether the person's income is increasing or decreasing, अगर लोगों का इनकम इंक्रीज या डिक्रीज होता है तो उसके हिसाब से मेरे प्रोडक्ट की क्वांटिटी बढ़ रही है या कम हो रही है, दैट आई कैन स्टडी हियर इन इनकम इलास्टिसिटी। प्राइस में मेरे प्राइसेस चेंज करने से डिमांड में क्या होता है वो मैं स्टडी करूंगा, और दूसरे में क्या करना है, कंज्यूमर का इनकम लेवल चेंज होने से प्राइसेस में क्या होता है, दैट आई हैव टू स्टडी। ओके, so there are basically four types of elasticity of demand. First is the price elasticity, income elasticity, third is the cross elasticity, and advertisement elasticity. Now let us go for price elasticity of the demand. Now so in price elasticity of demand, it shows the ratio of, it is the ratio of proportionate change in the quantity demanded of the commodity to the given proportionate change in the price. Means what? It is the ratio of change in the demand upon change in the price. So it is the ratio. Ratio means what? It requires two factors, two variables. One is the x variable, another is y variable. So in this case, we are taking x as a change in the demand of the products, change in the demand of units, divided by x. Y will be your change in the demand of, sorry, change in the price. डिमांड में कितना चेंज हुआ, कब? हम लोग प्राइस जब चेंज करते हैं। नाउ so this is the EP stands for price elasticity. Price elasticity is nothing but change in demand upon change in prices. अभी देखिए, here you can consider change in demand as a x and change in price as a y. अभी देखिए, अगर x का वैल्यू y से ज्यादा रहेगा तो ये 0 पॉइंट समथिंग में आएगा, means it will be less than 1. EP will be less than 1. For example, change in a demand is equal to 4 and change in price is equal to 8. So 4 divided by 8 is equal to 0.5 आएगा, means what? It is less than 1. इसका मतलब प्राइस ज्यादा वेरी होने से डिमांड में वेरिएशंस कम एज कंपेयर टू प्राइस। अगर ऐसा हुआ, चेंज इन डिमांड इज इक्वल टू 8 and change in price is equal to 2. So 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Means this 4 number is EP is equal to 4. Means what? 4 is greater than 1. इसका मतलब प्राइस में लिटिल बिट चेंज करने से डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा प्रोपोर्शन से चेंज हो रहा है। ओके, अगर change in demand is equal to 8 and change in price is equal to again 8, so 8 divided by 8 is equal to 1, so it is called as a unit elastic. Getting this? Then change in price is equal to, for example, 1, and change in demand is equal to, for example, infinite. That is called as a perfectly inelastic demand. So in under price elastic demand, we have to remember this formula. Price elastic demand is equal to change in demand of price elasticity of demand is equal to change in demand upon change in price. So change in demand is always on towards the numerator, and change in price will be at a denominator. Okay, let us study the types of price elasticity demand. Again, price elasticity are classified into 5 categories. First is the perfectly elastic demand. Then second is the perfectly inelastic demand. Then relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, and unit elasticity of the demand or unit elastic demand. Okay, try to remember these 4 categories: perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, then relatively elastic, relatively inelastic, and last is the unit elastic. Very easy to understand. Okay, let us go for to study the perfectly inelastic demand. Okay, 1 minute. Now look at this perfectly elastic demand. When first let us understand the theory. When a small change in the price is at denominator. When a small change in the price leads to an infinitely large changes in the quantity demanded, yani X. If change in Y, there is the large change in infinite change in the X. Okay. It is called as a perfectly elastic demand. In this case, E is equal to infinity. E stands for elasticity of the demand is infinity. यानी थोड़ा सा प्राइस में चेंज करने से infinitely डिमांड में चेंज होता है. That is something about perfectly elastic demand, where elasticity is considered as infinity. Now, the perfect elastic demand means that quantity demanded will increase due to infinity, increase to infinity when prices decreases. प्राइस कम कर दिया, infinitely मेरा डिमांड चेंज होगा. इट में इंक्रीज और इट में डिक्रीज, एंड क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड विल डिक्रीज टू 0 व्हेन प्राइस इंक्रीजेस. प्राइस इंक्रीज किया तो इमीडिएटली मेरा क्वांटिटी मेरा जो सेल है 0 पे आ जाएगा, और प्राइस डिक्रीज करने से वो इमीडिएटली इतना ऊपर जाएगा ना, वी कांट काउंट इट. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट प्राइस perfectly elastic demand. So on look at the diagram now. On x-axis we have taken quantity to be demanded, and on y-axis we have taken the price. So increase and decrease in price, there should very much infinite level fluctuations in the quantity demand. प्राइस कम कर दी, इन्फिनेटली मेरा डिमांड चेंज हो जाएगा. प्राइस थोड़ा सा बढ़ाया तो इमीडिएटली डिमांड कम टू 0. समझ में आ रहा है? प्राइस थोड़ा बढ़ाया, डिमांड 0 होगा. प्राइस थोड़ा कम कर दिया, डिमांड इन्फिनिट हो जाएगा. दैट इज परफेक्टली इलास्टिक डिमांड. ओके. नाउ नेक्स्ट वन इज perfectly inelastic demand. Now look at one. Now perfectly inelastic demand. In this case, even large change in the price fails to bring about change in the quantity demand. प्राइस कितना भी चेंज कर दो, प्राइस ऊपर ले लो, प्राइस नीचे ले लो, लेकिन क्वांटिटी उतना ही जा रही है. Getting this? Means what? Increase and decrease in the price doesn't affect on the quantity demanded. Means what? Your X is not going to change if you are changing your Y. Y is the price. There may be increase or decrease in the price, but amount of total quantity to be demanded by the consumer, it remains same. So on x-axis I have taken quantity demanded, and on y-axis we have taken the price fluctuations. So your nature of quantity to be demanded is equal to same, though you are doing fluctuations in the prices. That is something about perfectly. That's why it is called as a perfectly inelastic. Inelastic means what? There is no change in the demand with respect to change in the price. Then rel relatively elastic demand. Now, under this relatively elastic demand, what is going to happen? Demand changes more than proportional to change in the price. प्राइस में थोड़ा सा फ्लक्चुएशंस किया तो यहाँ पे more than double or more than triple your quantity demanded is showing its performance. So demand changes more than proportionately to the change in the price. प्राइस में थोड़ा सा इंक्रीज डिक्रीज किया तो प्रोपोर्शनेट से भी ज्यादा डिमांड में चेंज होती है. इसका मतलब क्या है? The small change in the price leads to a very big change in the quantity demanded. Very big, but it is not infinite. समझ में आ रहा है? तो डबल या ट्रिपल या 2 times 3 times 4 times डिमांड में चेंजेस हो रहा है. Means what? Little bit change in y, yes, little bit change in y shows the more change in the x, where e will be greater than 1, where e will be elasticity is greater than 1. This demand curve will be flatter. इसी तरीके से मेरा डिमांड कर्व आएगा. So in on x-axis we have taken quantity to be demanded, on y-axis we have taken the price fluctuations. See the difference between P1 P2 and Q1 Q2. P1 P2 में थोड़ा सा हम लोगों ने क्या किया है? डिफरेंस किया है. प्राइस थोड़ा बढ़ा दिया या प्राइस थोड़ा कम कर दिया तो क्वांटिटी दो गुना या 4 गुना से बढ़ रही है प्राइस कम करने से. So quantity demanded is equal to, let us say, 8 and price fluctuation is 1, so that 8 divided by 1 will be 8. So 8 will be greater than 1, means what? Elasticity is greater than 1. This is something about relatively elastic demand. Okay, next, relatively inelastic demand. Just look towards the graph here directly. So quantity demanded changes less than proportionate change in the price. प्राइस में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस करने के बाद मेरा क्वांटिटी थोड़े प्रोपोर्शन से, प्राइस में 10% वेरिएशन करने के बाद क्वांटिटी में 5% से ही वेरिएशन हो रहा है. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ रिलेटिवली इनइलास्टिक डिमांड. ओके, now a large change in price leads to the small change in the amount demanded. Means what? Amount demanded is your x. Now x is equal to 5 and price is equal to 10. So 5 upon 10 is equal to 0.5. This 0.5 is nothing but it is less than 1. So elasticity is less than 1. That is called as a relatively inelastic demand. Okay. And last one is unit elastic demand. Now in case of unit elastic demand, देखिए, the change in the demand is exactly equal to the change in the price. जितना भी मैं डिमांड यानी जितने भी मैं प्राइस चेंज करूंगा, जितने यूनिट से प्राइस चेंज करूंगा, उतने ही यूनिट से मेरा डिमांड चेंज होगा. And elasticity of the such kind of demand is called as a unit elasticity or unitary elasticity. Now look at the Q proportion of price. Difference or fluctuations in the price is equal to 10% and quantity demanded is also 10%. So 10 upon 10 will be 1. Getting this? So this is something about unit elastic demand. So under price elastic demand, we have studied first is the perfectly elastic demand, then perfectly inelastic demand, then relative elastic demand, relative inelastic demand, and last one is the unit elastic demand. Do you have any doubt with respect to this? Because the 10 marks question will be there on this elasticity of demand, so you should able to explain this. Do you have any doubt with respect to this? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will go to the income elasticity of the demand. You tell me.
No, sir.
The question will be for 10 marks on this. So you should able to classify elasticity of demand. Okay. So we have studied. I hope that everybody is clear with this 5 types of the elasticity of demand. Price elasticity, we have studied price elasticity of the demand. Okay, now let us go to study the इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड। अभी प्राइस चेंज करना किसके हाथ में था? कंपनी के हाथ में। अभी इनकम चेंज करना या लोगों का इनकम चेंज करना ये तो कंपनी के हाथ में नहीं है। नाउ दिस इज द एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर। With respect to external factor, we are just trying to understand the performance of our demand. इनकम सॉरी कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट का प्राइस कर चेंज करना इंटरनल इशू था, इंटरनल फैक्टर था, वो कंपनी कर सकती थी। अभी इनकम, लोगों का इनकम चेंज करना ये तो इकोनॉमी के ऊपर डिपेंड है, ये तो कंपनी के ऊपर डिपेंड है। गेटिंग दिस? along with this, along with price elasticity, as a businessman, as a industrialist, I need to study the income elasticity of the demand as well. Okay, because income of the person, income of the people is not in under my control. Okay, so to estimate my demand, to estimate my demand, to predict my demand, I need to study the income capacity of the person. Okay, so income elasticity of demand shows the change in quantity demanded as a result of change in the income. जहाँ पे जहाँ पे previous formula में जहाँ पे price था, that price is replaced by the income. That's it only. बाकी तो same है. Okay. The income elasticity of demand may be slatted in the form of formula. तो formula क्या है देखिए, ID is equal to proportionate change in the quantity demand of the commodity. Proportionate change in the quantity or proportionate change in the demand divided by proportionate change in the income of the people. लोगों का income और लोगों का income हम लोग demand के साथ यहाँ पे compare कर रहे हैं. Now in this case, X is equal to quantity to be demanded and Y will be income of the person, change in the income of the person. Again, income elasticity of demand can be classified into 5 types. The income elasticity of demand के 5 types है, जैसे कि हम लोग price elasticity में देखते हैं. Let us see one by one. First is zero income elasticity. इसको हम लोगों ने प्राइस में क्या बोला था? क्या बोला था? रिलेटिवली इनइलास्टिक डिमांड. गेटिंग दिस? तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ नाम अलग है, जीरो इनकम इलास्टिसिटी. Zero income elasticity means what? The quantity demanded remains the same even though money income increases. यानी मेरा इनकम चेंज हो गया, तभी भी I will not purchase that product. Quantity demanded remains same even though there is an income in the even though there is the increase in the income of the people. That is called as a zero income elasticity. Means what? There is no impact of income change on the quantity of the demand. Again, it depends upon the nature of your product. Getting this? लोगों का मेरा income change हो गया, लेकिन मेरा quantity demanded will be remain same. So here on x-axis I have taken number of quantities like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on y-axis I have taken my income. For example, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, and so if at 5,000 rupees income I was purchasing 4 t-shirts. When my income increased to 10, that time also I am purchasing only 4 t-shirts. At 15,000 income, my purchasing power is again 4 t-shirts. When income is still increasing to 20,000, but my quantity demanded is again 4 t-shirts. I am purchasing similar quantity of demand of the t-shirt, though my income is increasing. Means what? With respect to your income, your demand is not increasing. That is something about zero income elasticity of demand. Okay. Now, so look towards this graph. you will understand better looking towards the graph, because in your examination you have to plot the graph as well. So this is about zero income elasticity. Means what? There is no relation. Why it is called as a zero income elasticity? Because there is no relationship between income and the elastic quantity of the demand. There is no relationship between these two. Now let us go to the next. Yes. Negative income elasticity. Negative income elasticity means what? When income increases, quantity demanded falls. मेरा income बढ़ गया, मेरा quantity का demand, मेरा product का preference change हो जाए. In this case, income elasticity of demand is negative. For example, if my salary is 50,000, at that time I used to prefer shoes of Bata. Getting this? So I used to demand Bata shoes at my salary of 50,000. When my salary increases by 80,000, when my salary increases to 80,000, that time I will not prefer Bata. I will go to the woodland. I will go to the woodland. Means what? My demand becomes zero of with respect to this Bata shoes, though my income is increasing. Means what? When my income increases, at that time people's preference can change, due to which demand may decrease. Clear about this? If such type of performance is there, that time it is called as a negative income elasticity. लोगों का income change होने से लोग brand बदलते हैं. मेरा income change हो गया तो मैं Celerio से Swift जाऊंगा, Swift से Swift Desire जाऊंगा, Swift Desire से Brezza जाऊंगा, Brezza से Ertiga जाऊंगा. Getting this? Means what? If there is the increase in the income of the people, that time demand to certain product decreases. Getting this? Accordingly, on x-axis we have taken quantities, and on y-axis we have taken the income. Income in increases, your quantity demanded decreases. That is something about negative income elasticity. Means what? There is inverse relationship between your income and demand. Okay. Now next, it is the inverse relation, opposite relation. C is the unit income elasticity. Means what? When an increase in the income brings about proportionate increase in the quantity demand. Means what? Jitne proportion se, look at the graph now on x axis as well as on y axis. जितने proportion से मेरा income बढ़ेगा, उतने proportion से amount quantity demanded can also change. When an increase in the income brings about a proportionate, equal proportionate increase in the quantity demand, and then income elasticity of demand is equal to 1. That is, EY will be considered as a 1. Okay, where the way in which your income is increasing, but the proportion in which your income is increasing, in the same proportion the demand for that quantity is also increasing. That is called as a unit income elasticity. Okay, now next one is, so on x-axis I have taken quantity demanded, and on y-axis we have taken income variations. So if there is the increase in the income, then what is going to happen? There is the increase in the quantity demanded by the same proportion. Next is the income elasticity greater than 1. Income elasticity greater than 1. इसमें क्या होता है देखिए, an increase in the income brings about more than proportionate increase in the quantity demand. जितने proportion से, look at the diagram now, जितने proportion से मेरा income change होता है on y axis, that is delta y, उससे कई ज्यादा गुना मेरा quantity demanded change होता है. Look at the delta d on x axis. वेरिएशंस देखिए, प्रोपोर्शन देखिए, y का प्रोपोर्शन, डेल्टा y का प्रोपोर्शन देखिए, और डेल्टा x का प्रोपोर्शन देखिए. That is called as income elasticity greater than unit. जितने प्रोपोर्शन से x के प्रोपोर्शन से y होना चाहिए उससे डबल होना या उससे भी ज्यादा आपका डिमांड चेंज होता है विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू योर इनकम. योर डिमांड इज इंक्रीजिंग देन यूनिट यानी इक्वल से भी ज्यादा चेंज होता है. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट इनकम इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड. you can you can also quote some of the examples with respect to this. Along with this you can give the example. Okay. Now for example अगर मेरा इनकम बढ़ गया तो I can buy more number of commodities from the demands. पहले with respect to my sum of the salary I used to do the purchasing of for example 5000. एक बार मैं डीमार्ट में गया तो 5000 का किराना 5000 का सारा शॉपिंग करता है. अभी जब मेरा इनकम बढ़ता है तो डायरेक्टली व्हाट आई विल डू द purchasing of 20,000 or 25,000. Getting this? This in that is something about income elasticity greater than unity. Unity से भी ज़्यादा elastic demand. And next one is income elasticity less than unity. अभी in this case, just look at when income increases, quantity demanded also increase, but less than proportionately. Equal proportion से quantity demanded is not changed. Means what? See here. On x-axis again I have taken prices of the product and on y-axis we have taken prices income of the persons and on x-axis we have taken quantity to be demanded. जितने proportion से मेरा income change हो रहा है उतने proportion से demand change नहीं हो रहा. Means what? There are some of the competitors in the market towards whom towards my competitors product my consumer or my customers are shifting. जितने proportion से इनकम चेंज हो रहा है उतने ही प्रोपोर्शन से इनकम नहीं चेंज हो रहा है. इसका मतलब अगर मेरा सैलरी डबल हो गया तो मेरा डिमांड भी डबल नहीं होगा. आई कैन परचेज फ्यू नंबर ऑफ क्वांटिटीज. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट income elasticity less than quantity unity. So on x-axis you are taken demand and y-axis you are taken price incomes. So if we plot the graph of these figures, then the graph will show like this. Okay, clear about this? Just tell me, are you comfortable with this income elasticity of demand? If you are comfortable, then we will move ahead. Do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
Everybody is clear with income elasticity demand because the question will be there. So we have studied zero income elasticity, then we have studied negative income elasticity. Next is the unit income elasticity greater than unity, and income elasticity less than unity. उल्टा जा रहा है ग्राफ. Okay, just look at these two graphs. ये ग्राफ कैसा जा रहा है और ये ग्राफ कैसा जा रहा है. Okay, so this is something about income elasticity of demand. अभी why there is the importance to study the elasticity of the demand. Elasticity of demand study करने का क्या फायदा है? Why it is important? Why it is required? Now see, to decide the price fixation, first is the price fixation. Means what? Company has to set the prices of the product because there should be no so much variations in between my price and my competitor's price. If there are the variations, at that time what will happen? If my price is more than my competitor's price, then again I will lose the demand. So price fluctuations, in price fluctuations I have to set my competitive price. Means what? My price and my competitors products price will be at equal level if the same kind of specifications are there. Getting this? If I will be in a perfect market competition, If I will be in a monopolistic competition, at that time my prices will be more than my competitors' price. Getting this? Because you are in monopolistic. Monopolistic means what? You are having control of the market. जो कुछ प्राइस आप लगाओगे कंज्यूमर उसी प्राइस को परचेस करेगा. फॉर एग्जांपल पेट्रोल एंड डीजल प्राइसेस. Consumer has no option. Consumer has no right to decide the price. So that is something about monopolistic or oligopolistic market. तो आप कौन से मार्केट एरिया में, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू आर सेलिंग soaps, if you are selling any shirts, at that time you are in perfect market. That time you don't have right to decide the price. But if you are in monopolistic market, monopolistic yani only 2 3 manufacturer are there who are delivering this kind of services. For example, Mahavitran, Indian Railway, then oil companies, gas companies, banks. So these are in monopolistic market. To whatever price they will charge, consumer has to purchase the product with respect to this price. So each seller under monopoly and imperfect competition has to take into account the elasticity of demand. Why we need to study the elasticity of demand? while fixing while fixing the price for its product. प्रोडक्ट की प्राइस डिसाइड करते समय सेलर को, मैन्युफैक्चरर को प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी एंड इनकम इलास्टिसिटी डिमांड का स्टडी करना बहुत जरूरी है. If the demand for the product is inelastic, he can charge fixed higher price. अगर आपको लगता है कि प्राइस के ऊपर से डिमांड कम ज्यादा या कम डिमांड के ऊपर असर नहीं हो रहा है, तो यू कैन चार्ज हायर प्राइस एंड यू कैन अर्न मोर प्रॉफिट. अगर आपको लगता है कि डिमांड चेंज करने से, सॉरी प्राइसेस चेंज करने से मेरा डिमांड चेंज हो जाएगा, सो एट दैट टाइम यू विल कीप योर प्राइस एज अ मिनिमम. अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं, प्राइसेस कितना भी चेंज कर दो, पेट्रोल के प्राइसेस कितने भी चेंज कर दो, डिमांड उतना ही, तो आप प्राइस कितना भी बढ़ा सकते हो और प्रॉफिट कमा सकते हो शॉर्ट टर्म. ओके, दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट प्राइस फिक्सेशन. So at the time of fixing the price, you need to study the demand, elasticity of demand. Second is the production. Elasticity of demand helps the product producers to take correct decision regarding to the level of cut output or output to be produced. कितना यूनिट्स प्रोडक्शन करना है, कितने यूनिट्स बेच सकते हैं मार्केट में, उसका स्टडी करने के लिए, उसका एनालिसिस करने के लिए मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, मुझे एनालिसिस ऑफ और इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड सीखना या अंडरस्टैंडिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है. टू डिसाइड माय प्रोडक्शन लेवल, I need to study the concept of elasticity of demand. Then to understand the distribution factors, who are the my distribution agencies on whom my demand of the product is known. So if we add my distribution factors, that is the factor of production, elasticity of demand also helps in the determination of the rewards for the factor of production. तो मेरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लेवल डिसाइड करते समय मुझे इलास्टिसिटी दिखाना है, इलास्टिसिटी का स्टडी करना जरूरी है. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल, सप्लायर्स, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, होलसेलर, and what are the another parameters which are important at the time of distribution? It may be your advertisement as well. Getting this? So here during the study of distribution channels, during the study of your distribution ways, you need to study the elasticity of demand, because on the basis of this you are going to do the expenses on advertisement, expenses for distributions. Okay, then next is the international trade. So elasticity of demands helps in the finding out the terms of the trade between two countries. The terms of trade refers to the rate at which domestic commodity is exchanged with the foreign commodities. Domestic commodity, international trade में भी कैसा होता है? What is the exchange rate in between your product and foreign product? On the basis of this, you need to study the elasticity of demand. Whether are the fluctuations of the demand with respect to price and with respect to income of the person. That to study the international trade, we have to study the elasticity of demand. And next one is the your public finance. Public finance means what? Elasticity of demand helps to the government for Understanding the tax policies. On the basis of this elasticity of demand, government can decide the tax policy. कितना tax लगाने का, कितना tax नहीं लगाने का. So these are the uses of elasticity of demand. Who is going to use at the time when it is going to be used? At the time of price fixation, at the time of product deciding the level of your production, at the time of deciding the distribution channel, at the time of international trade, doing the international trade with other company, other countries, and for the public finance it is required. Okay, so these are the uses of uses of your uh, price elasticity of demand. Okay, now, so this was something about elasticity of demand. Now we have to study the demand forecasting. अब ये डिमांड और इलास्टिसिटी और प्राइस इनकम के बीच में कौन सा रिलेशन है, कैसा रिलेशन है, ये तो हम लोगों ने स्टडी कर दिया. गेटिंग दिस? तो हम लोग वी हैव स्टडीड व्हाट इज द डिमांड. डिमांड के बारे बाद में हम लोगों ने इलास्टिसिटी का स्टडी किया. इलास्टिसिटी में हम लोगों ने प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी का स्टडी किया, देन इनकम इलास्टिसिटी का स्टडी किया. Then what are the uses of price and income elasticity, that also we have studied. अभी हमको क्या स्टडी करना है? डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग. डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग यानी to make the forecasting of the demand, estimation of the demand, because on the basis of your estimation you will utilize your resources, you will produce some of the units, you will arrange your resources like machinery, men, money, etc., methods, production. So everything आपको डिमांड के बेसिस पे ही करना है. So while starting your manufacturing activity, you should know your market demand of your product. Otherwise, your resources will be idle or it will be going towards the wrong decision. इसलिए मुझे डिमांड एग्जैक्टली मुझे मेरे कस्टमर मेरे प्रोडक्ट को कितना डिमांड है मुझे एस्टिमेशन करना है. बिकॉज हियर आई हैव टू एस्टिमेट अबाउट द अनसर्टेनिटीज. आई हैव टू make the prediction of the future demand, because on the basis of your exact prediction about the future demand, you are going to arrange your resources, human resources, labor resources, your machineries, your capital, your inventory, your production systems, everything you have to manage or organize with respect to your demand. अगर आपका डिमांड प्रेडिक्शन या डिमांड एस्टिमेशन गलत हो गया तो मेरे इतना पैसा जहां जहां पे मैंने ब्लॉक किया है वो मेरा पैसा लगाया है वो सारा पैसा मेरा ब्लॉक हो जाएगा. इसलिए आई शुड बी एबल टू एस्टिमेट डिमांड मोर करेक्ट. अगर करे बहुत करेक्ट अगर आपका डिमांड होता है ना, that time what will happen, your performance of your organization can also show good. तो डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग एक्चुअली होता है क्या, देखिए. तो डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग इज द एक्टिविटी ऑफ estimating. It is the kind of estimation or it is kind of prediction the quantity of product or services. Demand production is the estimation about the quantity of product or service that the consumers will purchase. Demand forecasting is the activity of estimating the quantity of product और सर्विस दैट द कंज्यूमर्स विल परचेस. कितना कंज्यूमर परचेस कर सकेगा उसका मुझे क्या करना है, एस्टिमेशन करना है. दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग. अभी नेसेसिटीज ऑफ डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग क्यों जरूरी है? डिमांड व्हाई डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अचीवमेंट ऑफ प्लान्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव. मैंने जो डिसाइड किया हुआ कंपनी के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड गोल है उसको अचीव करने के लिए मेरा डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग करेक्ट होना चाहिए. If there is the variations between my demand forecasting value and my actual level of production, then what will happen? There will be shortage of product in the market or there will be excess of production into the market. So if there is the excess of production in the production system in the market, then we will not get the customer, we will not generate the revenue. Getting this? To achieve your objective with respect to your planned objective, you can decide the estimation, you can set the market demand. Then Demand estimation or demand forecasting is required to prepare the various kinds of budgets like sales budget, production budget. हर एक को अगर सेल्स वाले ने सेल्स का बजट कर दिया, प्रोडक्शन वाला प्रोडक्शन का बजट करेगा, एडवर्टीजमेंट वाला एडवर्टीजमेंट का बजट करेगा, इन्वेंट्री वाला उसका खुद का बजट करेगा, एचआर वाला खुद का बजट करेगा. मींस व्हाट? फॉर प्रिपरेशन ऑफ वेरियस बजट्स, functional budgets in the organization, all functional budgets depends upon your demand estimation or demand forecast. Because budget is the blueprint of your activities. With respect to your sale, with respect to your turnover, you have to arrange your resources, and to arrange your resources you require money, and that money requirement you are planning in the form of budget. Okay, then stabilization of production and employment. So with respect to your demand, you can manage your production system. You can decide your level of activity, how many units to be produced in the month of May, June, July, August, September, or in the year you can decide. And on the basis of this, you can provide the employment to the society. Next is demand forecasting is required for the future expansion of your products. What are your future expansion policies? Expansion पॉलिसीज, डाइवर्सिफिकेशन पॉलिसीज. तो ये जानने के लिए मुझे डिमांड का कैपेसिटी, सो हाउ शुड आई बिल्ड माय कैपेसिटी, whether I increase my capacity or decrease my capacity, that I will decide with the help of this future expansion. Then long term investment program. To decide the long term investment program, again I have to estimate, I have to forecast the demand, and to prepare the sales budgeting, again I need to prepare the demand forecasting and to keep control on the inventories, because inventories are there where I am utilizing, I am spending my amount, I am blocking my amount. Okay, to convert this inventory finished goods, it requires time. And when we convert raw material into finished goods, if there is the demand to the market, अगर demand market में demand नहीं है तो production करके क्या फायदा है? Getting this? So again there will be ब्लॉकेज ऑफ माय कैपिटल. इसलिए डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग स्टडी करना बहुत जरूरी है. इसलिए हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव अचीव करने के लिए, बजट बनाने के लिए, प्रोडक्शन का लेवल डिसाइड करने के लिए, एम्प्लॉयमेंट देने के लिए, एक्सपेंशन एक्टिविटी करने के लिए, लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोग्राम्स डिसाइड करने के लिए. लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट मींस व्हाट? एक्सपेंशन ऑफ न्यू प्लांट, सेटिंग ऑफ न्यू प्लांट इनटू अदर एरियाज, शिफ्टिंग, देन working into more number of shift, one shift, second, third वगैरह. देन सेल्स डिसाइड करने के लिए, इन्वेंटरी कंट्रोल करने के लिए मुझे डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है. ओके, 1 minute. हाउ मच टाइम इज देयर? ओके, अभी देखिए डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग होता है क्या, एंड व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग. डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग refers to an estimate of future demand to the product. पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट को फ्यूचर में कितना डिमांड हो सकता है, ये एस्टिमेशन करना, दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग. एंड डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग प्लेज एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन द बिजनेस डिसीजन मेकिंग. बिजनेस के कोई भी डिसीजन लेने में, डिसीजन लेने के लिए डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग का स्टडी करना बहुत जरूरी है. उसके बाद डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन द प्रोडक्शन प्लानिंग. प्रोडक्शन लेवल डिसाइड करने के लिए डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग जरूरी है. Then it is also essential, demand forecasting is also essential for a firm to produce a required quantity at right time. Required quantity at right time means what? During the Diwali season, how to what to be produced and how many quantities to be produced. Diwali एक बार खत्म होने के बाद कुछ प्रोडक्ट को डिमांड नहीं रहते. Getting this? So my products total number of quantity to be right at a right time and at right place, this is important. Then you can increase your sale. To do this production planning, to make available products on the right time, my demand forecasting is necessary. Again, it is essential to distinguish between forecast of demand and forecast of sale. Demand का forecasting और सेल का फोरकास्टिंग करने के लिए मुझे क्या करना है? डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है. देन डिमांड फोरकास्ट रिलेट टू द प्रोडक्शन, इन्वेंटरी कंट्रोल, टाइमिंग एंड रिलायबिलिटी ऑफ द फोरकास्ट. डिमांड फोरकास्ट किससे रिलेटेड है? प्रोडक्शन सिस्टम से रिलेशन है उसका, इन्वेंट्री के ऊपर उसका रिलेशन है, देन टाइमिंग्स when to deliver my product into the market, what is the right time to deliver product into the market, what is the right time of production, what is the right time of your sale, and reliability of forecast means how this forecast is reliable. So this is something about demand forecasting. Next lecture we will study the types of demand forecasting and methods of demand forecasting. ये हम लोग method next lecture को study करेंगे, and to the next lecture we will finish second unit. Okay, so let us stop here now. Thanks so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, senior assignment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.